A lot has been said, and some of that I will say again here, but just want to share my heart on my mom and some thoughts on life from here on out. The Lord is good to all, compassionate to every creature. Psalm 145:9. My mom was one of a kind. She did so much with the hand she was dealt in life. She was the third of 5 siblings born in quick succession. Her family lived on a meager income, making do with what they had. They encountered an array of people, from the privileged New England elite in Connecticut to the down-to-earth Wyoming ranchers in Buffalo, from the sadly misguided religious folks to the genuinely transformed believers in Jesus, and all kinds of others where they grew up in Brooklyn and Natick, Mass. My mom and her siblings learned to play together where they were, and as she grew, it became apparent she had been playing sports with her brothers because she didn't mess around on that basketball court. She was quite athletic and strong. She took on most of life's challenges or opportunities like she did a tennis, basketball, or football opponent, with vigor. She became a woman who did what she thought was good and right, regardless of what everyone else was doing. Mom recycled before it was popular. She was crunchy before crunchy was cool. She drove fast and creatively. I used to joke that when she became an old lady, she would be the little old lady from Pasadena. She got where she was going, unbound by the conventions of what was typical or expected. She delighted in children and simple pleasures of God's creation, like flowers and vegetable gardens and horses, walking on country roads, fresh berries, and a good mountain hike. She truly had a gift for wheeling and dealing those antiques and collectibles and then putting them together in whatever house she owned at the time, such that it could have been in a magazine. Mom loved to teach others whatever she had to pass on, whether it was about those antiques or gardening or the years of acquired health and nutrition knowledge. Her passion for health came from her struggle as a teenager with what probably would have been diagnosed as an eating disorder had it been more recent. And back then she had no resources at hand, so she prayed that God would help her. And she found Shaklee vitamins and became a runner. These things helped her health so much, and she overcame her struggles, so she became a student of nutrition, natural solutions, and the like. Though she didn't possess a college degree in the subject, she could have taught hours of classes on what she had learned, and she helped many people become healthier. I personally gained, benefited, and gleaned from her understanding, such that I have lived a healthier, happier life in my adult years. I sometimes wish I could still call her and get her opinion or discuss a possible solution with her. But I am thankful that she taught me well, and I can have a good foundation from which to start when attempting to raise my family as healthfully as I can. The wealth of knowledge she possessed helped her through many obstacles and setbacks like tick and spider bites and reactions to pharmaceutical drugs, health issues that greatly added to the difficulties of her last 4 years of life. Perhaps she relied on her understanding and knowledge about these things a bit to a fault, especially toward the end. And she wrestled with feeling like after all that, she had failed. Cancer got her anyway. But in reality, her passion was always about using what God gave us to become as healthy and equipped as we can be for his kingdom work on this earth. And that is something I can get behind. I'm glad she left me with that positive impression of her noble intention. And while my mother and I shared some interests, perspectives, and desires, we were not without our differences. From the beginning, I have taken after her in appearance, athleticism, and love for outdoor adventures. Over time, I have grown to appreciate things like gardening, raising chickens, taking walks, and good nutrition. Though as a kid, I let my share of complaints fly about weeding said garden, cleaning said chicken coop, keeping up on those walks, and missing out on some of the junk food I saw others eating. Now I see the value in these things, and I like them myself, enough that I will gladly put my kids through some of the same. Still other things, like basketball or certain collector's items, or even convictions about some lifestyle choices, I do not share to this day. I realized pretty quickly that if I am to chase a ball back and forth, it better be with my feet. She could school me on the basketball court, but I could give her a good run for her money on the soccer field. We were similar, yet unique, and that's okay. When I say we had our differences, I don't just mean we preferred different sports or our taste in decorating differed. Our perception of the world was different in some significant ways, and therefore our experience. There were admittedly some tensions in our relationship at times. Our family had its share of issues. I can say that here, right? I imagine many of you can relate, or have I finally found the group of people that have perfect families? Issues happen. Still, despite any difficulties or differences, she loved me. She loved me, and I knew it. My sister and I held places in her heart that no one else did. She bought a cottage near my sister Ruth, a house here in Paradise Valley, and my dad and she left an amazingly beautiful house in Virginia to live closer to me. There is no doubt in my mind that she loved me deeply. I miss having the love of my own mother in my life, but I will remember and hold on to that. And I will remember the type of care and concern she had for any human being around her. Dad mentioned this. When she moved out here to join Dad, she'd been working long, hard hours on the house in New England, and she took the Greyhound bus out. She preferred to travel by bus, which boggled me because I love to fly, but flying made her nervous, I think. And the longer travel time and humble means of a cross-country bus trip didn't bother her one bit. So when she arrived in Casper and we went to pick her up, I was concerned for her welfare and hoping she had rested. I asked if she had got some sleep on her trip, and she proceeded to tell me the reason that she, in fact, had not. There was a woman recently moved to the States from a country in Africa. I don't remember which one, but traveling with 2 children and 2 twin babies. Lord bless her. To my mom, it wasn't a question. She needed to help this woman. So she took turns with the tired mother, holding one of the twins while the other nursed or cuddled his mama. Throughout the night, she could have used some sleep, but she saw the need of another human being and offered what she had to offer, loving arms. This way of actively loving her neighbor was not uncharacteristic of my mom. Throughout the years, Dad and Mom were living examples of how to show compassion to anyone, regardless of differences. By offering to buy food for a homeless man we might see, inviting inner-city kids to spend a few weeks at our country house through a program called Fresh Air, or sharing what little we had with random high school friends of mine, for example. It was a way of life till the end for her. And I saw that compassion when she told Dr. Duquette on Easter morning that she would pray for his cough right before she was life-flighted to Denver. This is a trait I wish we all embraced a little more. I'm not suggesting that my mom did this perfectly, and certainly not saying that I have it down. In fact, in these last few months, I have seen how much more I can grow in this way. Depending on the moment, it may be easier to love strangers than family, or vice versa. Either way, I want to emulate that kind of compassion that she had for others. She showed those around her true compassion, and I believe, like anyone, that is what she ultimately wanted from others. And this is one of the most important ways her life impacted mine while she was still around, while I still had her around. This is something God used her life to teach me in the last few months, to seek understanding and grow in empathy and compassion. You see, when it came to our differences, I found that the more I prayed for and sought to understand my mom, the more compassion and patience I had. My understanding of her experience helped to soften the blow of anything that might have felt hurtful to me in our relationship. The more I began to learn about how she encountered people in the world, the more I could put myself in her shoes. I began to imagine life from her angle, and I realized that as difficult as it may have been for me at times, it must have been so much harder for her to suffer as she did. And I decided to be glad for her when she delighted in something, even if it didn't come naturally to me. I hope to walk away from this experience of losing my mother while simultaneously beginning to understand and care for her more than ever, with a softer heart toward our multifaceted God and his beautiful creations. I am committed, and I encourage all of us to stay. to resist the urge of running when we encounter differences in others. Let's seek understanding about people in our lives, their physical, psychological, spiritual, cultural, and emotional makeup. Let's consider those differences opportunities to better understand the human experience and yet another facet of an awesome God in whose image we were all created. And as we grow in understanding and practice empathy, I believe compassion will grow as well. Jesus was moved with compassion many times. He saw the humanity of those around him, and from a deep place of understanding, he met the needs of those people. Because he lives today, because the grave could not hold him, he continues to show that compassion to each of us. My mom needed the touch of his compassionate hand, and by his Spirit, because of her faith in him, she received it. Now she is at rest in his magnificent presence. But here we are still. We currently have breath and another day to live on this earth. So let's live it well. Each day I'm given, I want to grow in wisdom and understanding by the grace of God. And I want to treat others with the compassion of Christ, because truly, in our beauty and brokenness, we are all equals at the cross. What's past is past, and I can't have that time back. I can't have my mother back, not here. But I can live today in a way that would make her proud. I can live with my eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, and become more like him. Maybe you'd like to do that too. Maybe we can help each other, because he lives.
And join me this morning in singing to our Savior.